hopefully everybody will make time in their schedule to join us, and we'll have a nice big class. But
and I'm seeing that it's recording right now, so you probably want to not
oh,
record
you know
that
what?
unless you want to know this.
I didn't. I must have set it up that way. Give me a second. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Nancy Pierson, coming to you from the lovely Phoenix, Arizona, and I am the Business Development Manager for Equity Title Agency right here in the Valley. I'm super excited to host this Zoom workshop with my friend Chaz Motter with Elite Marketing. He is awesome at his job. And I also have with me a affiliate partner on these classes, whether they were live back in the day. Do you guys remember back in the day when we had live classes? Or Zoom? I like to work with an affiliate so that you all, the realtors out there, have good resources on who to partner with for different items, inspections, home warranties, etc. Today, of course, is someone from an inspection company, not just a someone, Mr. Rocky Denton, and he's the Business Development Manager for National Property Inspectors, and he's just going to take a few minutes to say hello and tell you a little bit about his business. Rocky, you want to take it away?
Nancy, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rocky Denton with National Property Inspections, and it is so great to be with you all. National Property Inspections is a very unique company in the fact that we always send 2 inspectors to every inspection we do. We have an infrared camera system that is absolutely amazing that detects leaks, electrical issues, missing installation, things like that. I've seen it done live. It is really cool. Our inspectors always do a really good job of explaining the inspection to the buyer, not to scare them away or anything, but they do a fantastic job of explaining it. We have a 90-day warranty that we do have on our inspections. And I think the best part about our company is we do, after the repairs are made, all the bins or items, we do a free re-inspect on those. So we'll come back out to the home, no charge, and inspect all those items that were repaired. I will add my info to the chat. And if you have any questions or would like to schedule an appointment, please let me know. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Rocky. Thanks for adding your contact information to the chat. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. I always do a great follow-up. If you guys have attended my classes before, I always follow up these classes with not just the recording, but the affiliates and the instructors' contact information, as well as my list of services. So before I hand the baton over to Mr. Chaz Motter, I like to brag about my escrow office, my escrow branch, I should say. If you don't know, because I see that I have some familiar people on the Zoom call, but if you don't mind, indulge me for a moment. My office is here at 32nd Street in Lincoln, and it's been in this very location for 21 years. The company, Equity Title Agency, has been in the Valley for 26 years. So really reputable, good bones, as I can say. And my job as a business development manager is made so easy because I have this well-oiled machine of great escrow officers. They're all senior escrow officers, which just means that they have been in the business for a long time, 20 plus years. Some of them a few more years than that. They don't like to really let me get into the details, but they're great gals, very knowledgeable. They've been through all sorts of markets. They know some of the more intricate, tough escrows like FERPTA, for example, reverse mortgages. So if you place a contract here, know that you're in good hands. As far as my role as a business development manager, I have a myriad of services that I offer. And if there's something that I can't do, I have these great affiliate partners surrounding me, like Mr. Chaz and others. So they can get in the details, whether it be social media, video, etc. They can help you with that. So I'm a great resource, so feel free to reach out when you need something done. So with all of that said, I would love for Chaz to get the party started, right? This is gonna be like a party, right, Chaz?
Oh yeah.
A learning party on Canva.
You didn't mention that you're also a movie star. Nancy made a cameo appearance in one of our videos and did an amazing job. So yeah, we're going to have to get you back on set soon.
Strike a pose.
Yeah.
Remember that? The Madonna years.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
okay. Well, thanks for bringing that up, I guess. Um,
uh,
no, yeah,
well,
that's true. I lend my services out to video if you need it. Certain videos, I should add.
yeah.
Um, all right, Chaz. Well, I'm going to let you take it away. This is a great topic. So let's get started.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys for being with us today. I love Equity Title. I love what you guys do. So we've been working together for a few years now. And I know I don't look very old, but I've been in the game a few years. But when it comes to learning Canva, definitely it's more of a millennial place. So hopefully I can shed some light on how to leverage this for your marketing. I think this is a great topic to cover. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Nancy, can you see my, it's loading and it's loading. Can you see this here?
I certainly can. And
Awesome.
should we add at this point, Chaz, to please everybody on the call use the chat button to start with questions, and I'm going to be monitoring it, okay? And I'm going to interrupt Chaz when appropriate and get those questions out there for you. At the end, if you aren't liking the chat button and you want to voice something, we'll make some time at the end as well.
Yep. And the way that we're going to run this today is I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of the what is Canva and how can you use it. And then we'll go in and actually do a live demo on my desktop. I'll show you how to use some of the features. It is going to be on desktop. I love the mobile version, so I have a little bit to cover in the mobile version in this presentation as well. But we'll do a live demo, and then I'll come back to the deck and kind of wrap up a couple of final points, how you can stay organized. But like Nancy said, if you guys have questions, especially if it's relevant to the demo as I'm going and you're like, hey, what does that button do? Or, hey, why did you do this? Other people are probably going to want to know the answer to. So just throw it in there and we'll get it covered. But yeah, I'm going to aim to wrap this up by about 11. So that gives us about 52 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. My name is Chaz Motter, and as Nancy mentioned, we've recently rebranded to Caviar Studio from Elite Marketing. Yeah, I'm a former gymnast at ASU. I've worked with over 300 businesses over the last 3.5 years, helping them with their marketing, with their social media. And we've gained over 1 million followers for our customers. Among other things, we've helped create content, and Canva has been an amazing tool for us to leverage as it relates to creating that content and just showing your brand and increasing the value of that brand. So that's enough about me. I want to give you guys a little bit of social proof here about what is Canva. Do other people use it? Here's a review. It's awesome no matter what type of graphic you want to create. It's a one-man army. You can create and edit almost any type of content without paying a penny. It's 4.7 stars, reviewed by 2.6 million people. That tells you that this is a good platform, and in my opinion, it's the easiest to use platform that's out there. So for those of you that are intimidated about, I don't even know where to start, I don't even have a social media going, don't be intimidated. This is a great place to start. It's an easy tool to use. And so, yeah, hopefully by the end of the presentation, you will feel a lot more comfortable about using it. As I mentioned, we're going to do a general overview, and then I'm going to jump over to Canva, and then we'll wrap up with the second phase of the presentation. But in terms of the basics, and again, I'll show you guys this stuff on desktop, but if you're on mobile, I'd recommend downloading the app. It's free, Canva. But essentially the process is when you want to use Canva, all you got to do is start typing something in. What do you need done? Whether it's a business card, whether it's a logo, whether it's an Instagram post, Facebook post, it's as simple as typing what you need into that search bar. They also are going to start to know what your favorites are. And whether you're on desktop or mobile, it's going to start kind of giving you recommendations on, hey, you need to do another Facebook post. You need to do another Instagram post. Other things here to look at are templates. So it's going to give you templates based on what you want to do. As you can see here, you've got Instagram posts down there, Instagram stories. It's going to create posts for you that you can then take and edit, so you don't have to start from nothing. You can take a post or a template that looks good, that can match your brand, and then tweak it, change the colors, change the pictures. So that's kind of the basics in terms of like, what is Canva and how can you use it quickly. It also stores your previous designs, so you can go back to them, you can clone them and change them up a little bit. Yeah, a lot of great features there. Again, you know, you can start from scratch if you so choose. If you're like, I'm not feeling a template, I want to start from nothing, I have a vision for what I want to create from scratch. And as I mentioned, you can use templates as well. Some of the basics, and again, you're going to see these controls on desktop, but here's some of the basic things you're going to be able to add. If you have a blank template that you're starting with, right? You can add text, you can add images, videos. It's called illustrations or shapes. And so that kind of gives you a little bit of a jumping off point to go, okay, well, I want to type this in, or I want to add a photo from my camera roll. But what I will say is make your life easy, create a branding guide. Now, you guys are probably like, what is a branding guide, Chaz? Well, I will tell you, it's something that looks like this. So first things first, get your logo. Make sure you got the logo down. It's the way you want it. And then my next recommendation is pick the color codes that it's called a hex color codes, that are the colors that are like you see in Nancy's background with equity. She's got a little bit of white, a little bit of black, a little bit of blue. Identify what are those colors and actually get them down on paper. A big part of content creation is keeping things consistent in terms of how you present your brand. And so big pieces to that are going to be the type fonts you use, as well as the colors that you use. If you're going, okay, I'm just going to pick this random shade of blue every time you create content, it's going to be slightly different, and it's going to be less cohesive. It's going to be less professional. And so if you're wondering, how the heck do I figure out what my colors are? I would recommend if you just type in Hex Color Picker on Google, HEX, then you're going to be able to, find what colors. You can actually upload and I'll show you guys this in the demo, but you can actually like upload a logo and hover over the color that the logo is, and it'll give you the hex code for it. But make sure that you prepare something like this with variations of your logo, with type fonts, just so you have a home base of, no matter if you're working with a marketing agency, you're working with a social media manager, you're doing this yourself, that here's my consistent brand and how I'm going to present it no matter what the type of content is, whether it's your website, whether it's social media, etc. A couple of other things that I'll mention. Some of these are specific to mobile, but there's a couple of other options that you can use. One thing that I love using is that logo button. You can actually upload a logo and store it there. So if you're branding your photos and you want to throw a logo in the bottom corner of everything that you do, it's a lot easier to just upload that logo and store it as a logo on your account than it is to go find it in your camera roll every time, or upload it each time you create a piece of content using Canva. So definitely recommend using that. The other thing I'll say is that Canva does a great job of recommending other templates. So if you select a template like this Stop Robo template, it's going to start giving you suggestions of like, here's other templates that are themed in the same way. And so it gives you the ability to create more content that follows that same kind of theme and brand voice with what you're creating. So I think that's an important piece here, is that you don't want it to be one-off pieces of content every time you create something in Canva. You want to kind of use what you've already created and build on it and keep it consistent. Because I know most of you guys are going to be using this for social media, for Facebook, for your website. You want that cohesion, and you want to make it quick. You don't want to have to go in and start from scratch every single time you create a post. So and I'll also say the swipeable graphics, we'll go and show you how to create multiple graphics but I know you guys have probably seen this on social media before, where you can swipe through a couple of different photos, making sure that you maintain that brand voice as you go through and you're swiping through. This makes it very easy to do so.
Chaz?
Yes, ma'am.
I already have a question that has to do with what you're talking about. So someone wants to know if you recommend downloading the brokerage or company logo, or if they have their particular branded logo. What's your recommendation?
Well, I would say that you want to be focusing on yourself. If you're putting this stuff on social media, you want your face in there. You want to be projecting your brand as opposed to a big business's brand. When you put a logo that is bigger than you, it starts to feel salesy to the customer just because they see that logo and think, okay, they're associated with this brand, they're going to sell me something, right? So I would recommend trying to focus it on your personal logo. But with that being said, if you're just kind of watermarking content and putting it in the bottom corner, it can be a way to, raise awareness for your partners. So consider that, and maybe you just put the logo and do something where it's like you have both logos on the first graphic and it just says, in collaboration with. So you can kind of get creative, but I always say focus on your personal brand, focus on your personal business over more overarching logos. Cool. Getting back into, so this is the other piece. And again, hopefully this gives you a little bit of context on what it looks like on mobile. So that when we get into desktop, you kind of see some similarities. But make copies. If you have, like I mentioned, if you create a piece of content, as opposed to starting from scratch, again, you can clone or make a copy of a piece of content that you create. And then you're not starting from scratch. You can go and edit the post, edit the copy that you're using. So that's it. And I'll show you where that is. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, you can rename this stuff. Try to stay organized here. It can get kind of crazy and out of hand if you're just building a lot of content in here and you're not organizing it. So with that, I don't know if we have any other questions, but I'm actually going to jump in and go ahead and show you guys a few things inside of Canva here. Let me share this. 1 second. Bear with me. Okay, Nancy, can we see Canva here?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So now that I've kind of given you the basics a little bit, hopefully these things will be a little bit more familiar to you. So as I mentioned, this search bar right here is your friend, okay? It'll actually start pulling up recommendations for you. And these are all different dimensions, right? So Facebook photo or Facebook cover photo is going to be a different shape than an Instagram post. And so that's how they're categorizing these. So make sure you are matching up where you want to post something to the specific category it's in. If you don't, you're going to have this kind of misshapen graphic that you're fitting into like a square peg into a round hole. So, but yeah, let's say that I think Instagram is probably a safe one to look at. So you type Instagram post in, this is how it's going to show it to you. Again, down here, they do a good job of categorizing these for you. They're showing you your designs that you've already created. So, if you're kind of looking for some inspiration, you can kind of toggle through here. But if you're looking for an Instagram post, let's go back in there. So I know I'm going to do an Instagram post. So it's going to start pulling up templates. So looking at these, the way I think about this is you want to have an idea of what you're wanting to create going in. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but it makes it a lot easier if you have a photo or you have an idea of like, I'm going to do my mission statement, because then you can start to match that content idea you have with a relevant template. So you're not starting from blank, right? If I click blank, it's going to be white and I'm going to be responsible for creating all of it. So especially for us that are trying to save time aren't the most savvy in this realm. And I look at it and find a template that makes sense, right? So if you're doing a mission statement, maybe something like this where it's just text, or something like this where it's just text. If you're trying to showcase maybe a home, maybe you want to do something that's a bit more engaging. Maybe you want to put the address up here where it says Juneteenth, and then have the photo of the house here, right? So kind of match your idea to a template, as opposed to just searching for a template to build off of. It'll make it a little bit trickier. But let's say we're wanting to do something that is like, I like this template. Let's say we want to create a post that's showcasing, real estate team. So I click into here and I'm like, okay, I think that this post can work. And if we get it loaded here, so you're thinking, okay, I think this post can work. I see there's some interesting stuff, and I think I can tweak it to make it make sense for me. So you've selected a template, and that's phase one of our plan. So from here, I like to work off of the photo first, but it doesn't really matter. But usually you got an idea of what photo you want to include in there. So if I click over this photo here, I can now do a little bit. So I can come in here, just show you guys. We've got our templates here. It's going to show you some other ones. It's got uploads here. So here's some of the stuff that I've already uploaded. So maybe if I want to add a logo in here, right? It's going to give me that logo. So that's what I mean by saving those things. Anything you upload in here is just going to show up down here. So makes it easy, right? I can resize it. So, I want to put my logo here. It looks like this might be the logo. So we can delete that. Now I want to move my logo in here, set it up, make it look nice. Good stuff. If you want to change a photo, you come over here to photos. It's going to give you a lot of options. And what I would recommend is just coming in here and searching. So what I like to do is real estate, something like that, right? Now we're seeing we've got some free options. There's not a whole lot of free options though, right? Anything that has this pro on here, I love pro. I think if you guys get pro, it's not a waste of money by any stretch. You're going to get a lot of advanced stuff. But if you're just getting started, you don't need to be drinking out of a fire hose right away. So, you can select one. You can search things that are very granular as well. So if real estate isn't really cutting it, maybe you want to do like homeowner, and maybe you'll get something a little bit more specific. Again, you're not going to get amazing results from here just because they withhold a lot of stuff to pro users. One tool that I absolutely love, and get your pens ready for this one. If you're looking for photos or videos, like stock stuff that's like able to be licensed, you can download it for free. Pexels.com, Pexels.com. That's going to be a great resource for you in terms of finding content that you can use. It's free to download. But let's go back here into real estate just so we kind of get a taste. Let's say I like this one, right? Now, some of these templates are not going to allow you, like, for instance, this one, I'm realizing now this image is not separate. So it kind of depends on the template a little bit, but, I would focus on, and I'm wondering how, if you double click it, you can resize it a little bit. But in terms of the template, I'm wondering if I can change the image here. Just delete this image. So you can get rid of an image like that if it's resized kind of weird. But here's this image. As you can see, I'm actually going to come over here to elements. So if you wanted to change it up and actually have like a cool window as opposed to just a square, let's say, I can come in here into elements, and it's going to give me a couple of options on frames down here. So if I want to do a cool layout, maybe I want it to be inside of a laptop, right? And come over here, and You can change it up like this. But I'm just going to go back. So I want to add this photo, all right? Put the photo in here. We're going to have that sitting up there. Down here, this is where we change our text, right? So if it's a template, it's going to give you something similar to work off of. So you can't really change up the text too much. If you wanted to add more text that's not this template, then it'll give you some more templated text over here. Just imagine how this works for your brand and what words you're going to change. If you're really not seeing anything you like, you can always click and add a heading, add a subheading, add a little body of text, and it'll just create, like, so you can see, it'll just create its own thing here. But if I want to work off of this, let's say I want to do Chaz and Nancy real estate team, right? So you can come in here, change it up. You maybe put like coming July 2020. You have down here the best service ever, right? So you can change up these things. And depending on the template, it's going to allow it to be a little bit more malleable. Like I mentioned, if it's something where you're really wanting to kind of make it super custom, then again, I'd recommend you can go and do a blank one. But that kind of gives you guys the basics. A couple of cool things that I like. Again, up here, we can change the fonts. So if you guys, going back to that branding guide, if you have a font in mind, make sure that you use that same font here so you can change it up. But same with the background colors too. We can change the color. So if I have my my logo here, I want to match that to this logo. So maybe I want to do some different colors that match the brand. I don't know, something like this. Now you see how this blends a little bit better. So just think about what you can do there to make this come to life. But you see this obviously already starting to look pretty professional off of really not a whole lot of work. Couple of other cool things that I want to show you guys that are kind of just things people don't know, not common stuff. In here, inside of elements, you can pretty much type anything you can think of. Let's say I wanted to include like keys, because it's a real estate deal. So I want to include keys, right? I can add a key in here. It's kind of like clip art, right? So you can do some cool stuff. Anything you can think of, you type it in there, it's going to give you something. And so I think that that's a cool feature that people don't really realize. It doesn't have to be an image. It can be something as simple as that. You can also put in, I mean, you know, just looking down, going through here, they're going to give you a lot of cool stuff, right? They're going to give you, you know, and let's say I want to kind of dress it up a little bit. I want to put, we're going to get too busy here, but maybe let me use this. Let's say I want to put this key down here. And now it's like, well, it's on top of the text. I want the text on top of it. Then all you have to do is double click here. And then down here, it'll say, do you want to send it all the way to the back or do you want to send it backwards, right? So I send it backwards. Now the text is in front of it, right? Makes it a little bit more eye-catching. But again, you can get carried away here. So, and it's, sometimes it'll get annoying because you got to move stuff around to make sure that it all fits well. But yeah, so like you can do stuff like this. Let's see what else we got. I mean, again, there's so many different things here. Maybe you want to make a post about like some kind of real estate trend. These charts will actually allow you to add values in there. So if you wanted to do some kind of bar graph, I mean, again, put as much time as you want into it, but you have the ability to customize charts and things of that nature in here as well. So, and again, if you have something that doesn't match your brand colors, it's going to give you the colors up here. It's going to give you the fonts and everything like that. So, you know, use that to help you to just make sure that stuff is consistent. let's see, what else do we have here? So let's
Chaz,
say that, was that Nancy?
it's Nancy. I actually have a personal question or just something to point out to the
Yeah.
realtors. So I've used Canva, and I know you can do flyers as well. And I'm thinking maybe some people on the call may want to do a quick like listing flyer. So can
Yep.
you, I know that you can just search a template and
Yep. Yeah, we
pretty
can
much
do that.
get most of it done. So you want to demo
Yeah,
that?
let's go over there and do a flyer. I want to make sure that, here, let's pop out of this. So if you're wanting to do a flyer, yeah, you just do the same thing. I mean, I'm sure. And, you're going to see stuff like this. So, I would avoid the most basic things you like, but match it to your brand too. Think about how you can make this. If your brand is, I'm professional, I'm wearing suit and tie, then, I would focus on something that's more kind of like these top ones. If it's something where you want to be a little bit more accessible, maybe you're wanting to appeal to a younger demographic, maybe you want to be a little bit more fun, have a little more personality. Obviously, there's a lot of different options here, but finding something that works for you or makes sense. Stuff like this is pretty busy, so you want to avoid posting that type of stuff on social just because you're going to just put way too much information in. But yeah, let's see here. I want to find one that has a lot of good elements so we can play with. Let's
An open
do,
house one looks good.
yeah, let's do this one. This is pretty generic. Okay. Here we
Chaz,
go.
do you want to mention, here's a little pitfall that I ran into when I started
Yeah.
using it a while back. I don't think it works very well. I'm a Microsoft girl. That's, as you know, my background, but I don't think it works well on Windows Explorer. I think it works better on Firefox. What are you using it on? You're using it on Safari, right?
I use Google Chrome.
Oh, Chrome.
But yeah, I mean, and the other side to this too is that I think mobile is a great option too. So if you guys are kind of getting frustrated or you want to try it another place, as long as you're logged into the same account, you can see those designs that you create on desktop, on mobile, and vice versa. So, I would test both out because everyone has their own speed. And even if you're thinking like, I'm not great on mobile, you might be surprised. They've made it very, very simplified. And sometimes you just want to take your finger and move something as opposed to trying to click and drag stuff. But no, that is a good point. But yeah, I mean, I think a couple of other cool things that I like. This is a cool feature they just added, this animate. So if it's something that's digital, this just gives it kind of a fresh look. So being able to do this, you can do this on your photos too. If you're wanting to post something on social media, and it'll kind of export it properly to where you can upload it to Instagram, and it's going to do that when the person scrolls down, gives it a little bit of motion, gives it a little bit of flair. So I think that that's a really cool feature that they just added there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of how you can kind of make this your own, obviously one big thing I'll always say is you want to make sure you're branding yourself. Want to make sure that you're throwing in something like this, get my logo in there. And so another cool thing is once you've uploaded a photo, let's say I upload this photo, double click it and you can actually move it around inside of there or like zoom in on it. Like you drag these. So if you want to show a certain element of the house or you want it zoomed in, now it's going to do that. So that's just a simple double click. I know sometimes that can get kind of frustrating if you're trying to, you don't want to necessarily move it around, and no, it's not going to let me work with it. But another cool thing is, like I mentioned, you can add a new page right here on the bottom. So if you want this to be maybe open house on the first page, but then you're going to show, a couple of other details, you add another page. And then when you export it, it'll export both. And so you can kind of turn your single flyer into a 2-page flyer. But yeah, so that's one good thing here. And again, sometimes the stuff gets kind of tricky. You got to move things around. And so that's one of the reasons that I do like mobile, is that sometimes it's just not as malleable on desktop. But let's say I move this stuff over here. I got my logo in there.
Hey, Chaz. Hey,
Yeah.
Chaz, it's me again. Sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
So a question popped up, and I know you mentioned it in passing.
Yep.
The cool thing about Canva is all the ways it will convert it to you. So the question was, how do you get it in a Facebook format? So you want us to talk about how it will change it to PDFs, JPEGs, anything you want?
Yeah, when you download this, it's going to give you some options. Because this is an animation. It's asking me if I want to download it as a video. You can do a PDF right here if you're looking to print it. You can do a JPEG or a PNG if you want to upload it to social. But just keep in mind, you have to work off of the dimensions. So when you create this, if you wanted to make this post on Instagram, don't do it as a flyer, because it's going to be different dimensions. And if you try to resize it, it's just not going to match. So keep that in mind. And that's where having your brand colors and having everything kind of saved inside of Canva comes into play, because from there, it's not a huge pain in the butt to go and make a version of this for Instagram as well. You're kind of working off of that same theme. But yeah, hopefully that helps answer that question. What else do I want to show you guys? So if you're looking to do video too, and obviously for a PDF, it's probably not the most relevant thing, but you can turn these into video. So if you had like a aerial video of this, like let's say that this is the house, you can upload a video and it's going to be playing the video here with the open house. So if you go through the process of getting a video, put it in the flyer, put it in the Instagram post, like this stuff is going to elevate you for sure to the next level. And so people oftentimes don't think about Canva as, oh, I can do video. It's mostly just static graphics. And again, when you export it, it's going to give you the option here to export it as a video, as an MP4 file, or as a GIF. And so however you want to, a GIF is essentially just going to replay like 3 seconds of it over and over again, or the video is just going to keep replaying the whole 15 seconds. So think about, if you have the ability to just grab a video of inside the house or something, it's going to go deeper than just that photo and just like what everyone else is creating. So keep that in mind. Another thing I'll say as it relates to the colors. So here, like if I wanted to change this color to match my brand voice in here, it's going to give you photo colors based off of like what the vibe is of the photos. It'll give you a lot of different options. If you upload brand colors, it'll give you some of those brand colors. If you just have the hex colors, if you just have your branding guide and you're like, I need to have, whatever that color is, you just type it in here. Like if I know one of my grays is 56, 56, 56. And so it's like, now there's your brand color. So if you know the code, then just click this palette and it'll change it to what you want. But that's an important thing that I always like to mention. Other cool things here, background. It's a little bit different inside of mobile, but if you want to add a little bit of texture, maybe you don't want it to just be a color, then there's going to be a lot of options here, and you can search the backgrounds too. Like if I want to I want some fire in the background, now it's going to pull up fire. You put it in there. Same thing goes here. But I think that, coming up with ways to differentiate yourself, that background can definitely upgrade you. If you want to undo something, undo it right here, right? Now it's back to white. And Nancy, I didn't mention this, but I believe you can resize these to like be Instagram specific if you wanted to, if you upgraded here. So if you have a PDF open house like this and you're like, I want this to be an Instagram post too, it does require a pro membership, but you can resize it here. So that's something to consider if you're kind of on the fence of like, should I upgrade? Should I not? Okay, going back, what else did I mention or miss?
Chaz,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's a question about portable network graphic PNG file versus JPEG. What do you prefer? I mean, I know either one works in my mind, right? You can do a JPEG or you can do a PNG file, anything picture related, right?
Correct. I generally stick to PNGs for images over JPEGs just because they're a little bit higher res, a little bit more dynamic. But with that being said, you know, whether it's a JPEG or PNG, you're not going to have much different. I just know that most graphic designers prefer PNG because that allows you to create transparency and customization a little bit more. So for purposes of this, if you're just kind of a beginner, I would say it doesn't really matter. Both of them are compatible with social media. So whatever your flavor is, it's not going to make too big of a difference, but that is a good question for sure.
And just for everybody's edification, since I have my Microsoft background, if you don't know this already, JPEG really all it is the company who came up with it. It stands for Joint Photographic Exports Group. So JPEG is kind of like Kleenex versus tissue. It's like a file, you know, it's still a picture file, but it's like a company acronym.
Hey, that's Nancy, you're surprising me with knowledge all the time. That's good. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, I showed you guys most of these kind of features on here. Again, this stuff from a mobile perspective is slightly different. If you're on mobile and you're designing, you're in this kind of studio, there's going to be a plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner that's going to give you these options along the bottom. So if you're using mobile, again, plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner is going to feed you these different options, and you can do a lot of the exact same customizations there. One thing I do want to show you guys, because I'm a productivity fiend, I always want to make sure I'm going as quick as I can, and you know, obviously doing it well, but going as quick as I can. Right here where you have all of your designs. So if I have all of these designs, let's say that I want to stay consistent here, and maybe I want to make something else using this same kind of vibe. I don't want to start from nothing. You can make a copy here. You can also download it here. You can also get a link. So if you want to share this with somebody and have like your graphics person or social media person work off of something you've already created, you can share a link with them and they'll be able to go in and kind of collab with you on the same design. So that's something that can help you if you are hiring somebody to do this. You can also organize it into folders here. So if you want to kind of create folders of the different types of content, like you have flyers as one folder, and then social media, Instagram posts as one folder, try to make this as organized as possible. They didn't have those features when I started creating stuff. And so I've got a million different designs. And so it'll definitely help you to just be a bit more organized and have a home base. So that's always something important I like to mention. Do we have, this is a brand kit as well. So this is where you can upload those logos. Like I mentioned, you can also have your palettes of brand colors that are just going to be prompted inside of the posts, as well as the brand fonts here are going to just be prompted inside a post. So it's going to be like, hey, you're using this template. Do you want to use this same font that you've been using that you saved? It'll just help you to stay consistent. So keep those things in mind. That's going to help you to just elevate what you're doing. I'm going to jump back over to the slide deck to give a couple of more details. Do we have any other questions that we want to go through? Again, just playing around in this is going to give you a lot of information. So, you know, just using, they're adding so many features every day. They've got a lot of money. So, you know, there's so many cool things. You can create QR codes, you can use Bitmojis. One of the things that I don't think about that ends up being like, I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, if you're doing like YouTube videos, like they have everything. They have YouTube thumbnails. So it's like, you want to create a YouTube thumbnail for your YouTube video, do it inside of Canva. Like anything that you're putting out there, check and see. I guarantee you they have some kind of template that matches the vibe or whatever it is that you're working off of. But hopefully that gives you guys kind of a good idea, and I can jump back in once we get to Q&A and show a little bit more. But just
Yeah,
to,
I'm
yeah, go ahead.
curious, since I have the free version, I know about paying like extra. You can keep that account. Do they still have it where you can keep an account and pay $1 per some of their more premium pictures, or did they change it up?
Yeah, they have that feature still. So if there is something where you're like, I don't want to pay for pro, but I do want to have this one photo, definitely you can do that.
Remember what
Like,
Pro costs? I'm sure people are curious.
what's up?
You remember the cost of Pro?
I think it's like $5.99 a month right now. They change it up every once in a while, but it's really not that expensive if you are creating a lot in there. It pays for itself for sure. But I'll also mention that check it out on mobile. It's something that definitely is going to make your life easier there too. And the reason that I say check it out on mobile, and we'll get it back into this, is that even if you're not creating in there, even just exporting it from mobile, you can go and access your designs. It's going to export it directly to your camera roll. When you're posting your stuff on social media, oftentimes you're going to be doing so from your phone. And even if you're using like Buffer or something, they have a mobile app. It's a little bit quicker to do it. So think about how that might help with your workflow, but come up with your process. And, kind of getting into a couple of last minute things here. I always like to talk a little bit about, I know we're running out of time, but I like to talk a little bit about what is your content recipe. If you're thinking about, well, pro's not going to make sense because I just do a flyer every time I get a new listing, but that's it. You should be going deeper than that. This stuff can be applied to so much more, right? If you have testimonial videos, like we showed, you can upload the testimonial video into Canva and then put your logo on it, right? Put your branding on it, put your brand colors on it, elevate that testimonial, right? 2 informational or walkthrough videos. If you have a listing, go through the house and take a couple of pans of the living room and use those as content. You can put that into Canva and elevate your videos from just being a video on your phone. All of a sudden you can frame it as something that's much more than that. I like doing a couple of graphics showcasing the listings themselves. One thing I mention to people is if you have a photo of a house, the one way to go deeper is just put the specs of the house. What's the listing price? What's the square footage? How many bedrooms, bathrooms? Where is it? What's the address? Adding those little blurbs to the bottom corner using Canva will help you to, take it a step further than just, hey, I'm just going to throw my listing photos up here that I took from the street. It just gives you a little bit more brand identity. You put that logo of yourself on there. And now all of a sudden you have so much more to go off of. So I love doing that. You can definitely continue doing the graphics, open houses, events. Like you can use Canva, obviously we saw, to do those things. But that shouldn't be the only content that you put out there. Too often I see realtors that have a missized graphic that was created for them, or maybe they tried to do it and that it's cropped off on the Instagram post. And that's the only thing they post. And they think, oh, I'll just put this up there. Oh, I'll put this in the Facebook group and that's it. That's all I need to do. That's social media. That's not going to help you with social media. You may as well not post anything. So think about how you can kind of customize your process. And then, I'll always say, put a couple of photos of you. You're selling yourself here. You're not selling the listing as much as you're selling you being the person to help them to do this. And so 38% more engagement with photos of you, but make sure you're sprinkling a little bit of personal brand in there. You guys are personal brands, whether you like it or not. And people are going to look at this, and just as much as they may like the house, they want to like the agent. And if you want to build a brand equity with those people you're working with and have them to refer you next time, you got to be memorable. And so like I give the example down here of like, you have a picture of a house from the street versus like, a picture of a dinosaur mowing the lawn in the front yard. I'm going to remember the dinosaur you know, and not saying go get a dinosaur costume and do this, but, you know, think about how you can step out of the normal, because there's 50,000 plus real estate agents licensed in the state of Arizona alone. Facebook, biggest job role is real estate agent out of every other job role. I don't say that to scare you guys, but you're fighting Zillow and everything else. You're fighting all these other agents. You got to differentiate yourself and stand out. So think about how you can use these 10 posts to come up with fresher content and be a little bit more engaging, a little bit more memorable as it relates to social. I always like to save my posts. You can do this inside of Canva. I do this inside of Google Drive for myself, but make templates of different types of posts, and you just have a backlog of all this stuff. So you can kind of put your strategy together, but you have a plethora of content available to you, but save it somewhere. Other helpful tools. These are for my advanced people out there. If you're already using Canva, this is going to help you to elevate, but you want to take it to the next step. Here's a couple of different things. Nancy knows I'm all about free, so everything on here is free. If you want to do, like, the preview app will allow you to preview what your content's going to look like on your feed, so you know in what order you should post things so that it's going to look good. The photo split app is, like, if you guys have seen, like, here in the far left photo, you can take one photo and turn it into like 9 different posts where it's all broken up and it looks cool on your wall. So maybe you have a listing, maybe as you see this woman with the purple hair here, maybe it's your listing that's spread out across 9 posts. Just looks cool. I mean, right now with what social media is doing, your social media is it's another website. So you want to make it look pretty, make it look advanced. That's a great way to do it. The scroller app allows you to create swipeable posts out of a single photo. So it's kind of like almost 360. You take a picture of the house and it only shows half of it, and you swipe and it shows the rest of the house on the second photo. So that's another cool thing you can use. And then obviously I mentioned you guys, Pexels is a amazing place to find stock photos, where it's not going to be something that's licensed or that you're ripping off of someone else's stuff. This is all free content. So Pexels is a great option if you're looking for some stock stuff. Big concept here, big takeaway. Stick to a consistent strategy to maximize your efforts. I think that this is something that people oftentimes are looking at Canva, looking at content creation and thinking about it in a one-off type of manner where it's like, okay, I need to make a flyer for my open house, and that's it. You know, think about what is your consistent strategy going to be, and how can you hold yourself accountable? Because it goes much deeper using Canva, as you guys have seen, than just making a photo or making a video. And so if you kind of have your strategy, if here's the post I want to get out each time I have a listing, maybe I do 10 posts every time I get a listing, use Canva and help craft those 10 posts. But, you know, keep in mind that you are a personal brand, so you want to sell yourself and your business just as much as the listing. If you guys do want to see how to use this in mobile, I have this video linked on the presentation. So I'll get the presentation over to you, Nancy, and you can share that with everyone if you want to go back and kind of take a look. But that's focused specifically on mobile. So if you need some help there. Outside of that, you know, here's a few things that we do. I'll drop a couple of links in the chat, but we help you do a lot of stuff. Really, we focus on, you know, helping realtors to elevate what they're doing. So whether it's a 360 walkthrough, listing videos and photos, growing your social media, website. One big one that we're seeing a lot of demand for right now is virtual staging. Less open houses, no point in paying $5,000 to stage it if you can stage it virtually. But if you guys want to see what a tour would look like, then you can check this out right here. You scan that QR code. It'll pull up an actual tour. Nancy, one thing I would love to show them really quickly is this is just like for food for thought. If you guys have heard of virtual staging and you're wondering, like, how can I make this work for me? Or how do I apply this? This is a really cool project that we just worked on. Essentially, you have a virtual tour here, so I can walk around the house. But then you can also virtually stage that same tour to show, you know, before and after what this stuff looks like, staged and unstaged. You know, make your way around the house. You can see what room you want to go into and see the different staging before and after here. So I think this stuff's pretty cool, but definitely something that if you're interested, happy to help out. I'm going to drop a couple links in the chat, but with that, you know, equity people that are with us here today, you have access to me. If you have a question, if you have anything that I can help out with, happy to listen. Doesn't have to be transactional. It can be about, you know, the presentation or anything, but I'll drop a few links in the chat, and I'll let you take it from here, Nancy.
Great job. Great job as always, Chaz.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, on top of him dropping a few links in the chat, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be following up, as I always do, with Chaz's information. He has a myriad of services, you guys. A lot of my realtor clients have worked with Chaz. I always get great feedback. Reach out to him. Reach out to Rocky. Hi, Rocky. Thanks for still being on the call. You want to say a fond farewell real quick?
Thank you for having me, Nancy and Chaz. That was really good. I've seen a couple of these classes, and yours definitely was the best. So great job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right. As I said before, I like to surround myself with excellent affiliate partners. So let Chaz know if he can help you in any way. Let Rocky know if he can help you in any way. And of course, I'm not shy. I want to ask for your business. I already mentioned how great my escrow officers are in this office. I know you'll have a nice, smooth closing. Thank you to those that are on the call who have been using Equity Title, my branch in particular, for many years, because I know you're on the call. I see you there. I truly appreciate your business, and I work hard to earn it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Let's see, someone just chimed in. Oh, that was just you, Chaz. Okay, I think I got all the questions, but before I say goodbye, was there anybody that wants to unmute and chime in with a question for Chaz?
Yes, happy to answer anything else.
Give you a few seconds to think about that.
And I did put my info in. Somebody is asking for phone numbers. You scroll up, I have my info in there.
Okay. Anybody want to chime in with any type of joke? No. We have 2 minutes. Time to fill the time. All right. Well, I think everybody got a great presentation, Chaz, so they don't have any more questions. Plus, they're going to get your PowerPoint. They're going to get the recording. They're going to be set to use Canva. Isn't that exciting?
I'm fired up. Seriously, guys, I would definitely get the Canva app on your phone, regardless of your building stuff there. We're going mobile, people. As technology innovation is happening. So you'd be surprised at how easy things can be. But yeah, I'm excited to see some better real estate content coming from our equity realtors. You guys got the tools now. So reach out if you have any other questions. I'm happy to answer anything.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging on the call. Appreciate seeing you all over Zoom. Have a good day and a good rest of the week. I'm going to stop recording.